taken into custody, but police say no charges were laid. Alderman Craig Burrows and Drew Farrell want these types of incidents to become bylaw infractions, so those involved would be forced to pay some hefty fines. The issue is scheduled to go before council on Monday.
You're watching Local News Calgary with Nermal and Naidu and Tony Ty.
When your son or daughter goes out for a night on the town, do you worry about his or her safety? Well, at least 2 Calgary parents say you should. Their children were involved in the big brawl outside of Cowboys that Global News first showed you last week. Nancy Hicks has the story.
It's a complete melee outside Cowboys. The fight attracts some major police manpower. Several men involved taken into custody, but none were charged. But while all this was going on, a mother was at home asleep.
I got a phone call at about 2:30 in the morning, woke me up, and it was the hospital. Explaining that Oliver was there and that he had been beaten up.
19-year-old Oliver Wall was beaten unconscious.
It's pretty frightening to see your son at, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning on a stretcher with a board and enough brace.
Cabby Scott's son was also in the fight. He's the one bouncers took down on the police car.
I heard that somebody had a knife down there. Well, it upset me enough that I couldn't go back to sleep. I had to go right down there. There's no way I would have been able to go back to sleep until I knew everybody was fine.
Those mothers have watched the video of the fight taken by Global News. They watched in horror as the brawl grew.
And we're very lucky that on this particular night, one of them didn't die.
These mothers would feel better if their sons would just stop going to the bar, but their sons won't give up their nightlife.
It's not like we go there for a fight, we go there to have a good time.
These mothers say the clubs aren't safe, and they want bar owners to do more. They suggest fights like these should result in hefty fines for nightclub owners.
Maybe that would help the bar owners to realize that they have to get a better handle on things.
The bar owner, Paul Vickers, disagrees. He says fines would work if they're handed to the individuals involved.
People need to be responsible for their own actions.
Vickers was at Cowboys last Thursday when the fight broke out.
And said if the kids make it a safe place, it will be a safe place.
These 2 moms are left feeling a little bit helpless, always worried when the next phone call will come.
You pray every night when they go out. You really do. You're worried about it.
Well, Nancy Hicks joins us now with more on this story. Nancy, what other options are the bars looking at?
Club owners are actually trying to get paid-duty police officers at their clubs. They suggest hiring off-duty officers in full uniform would actually deter some of this fighting. But that option hasn't been approved yet. Paul Vickers is also suggesting a bad boys bylaw, and in that the fighters would get fined and potentially even banned from the downtown.
All right, thanks a lot, Nancy.
The police chief's 3-year plan. Police face all sorts of a hidden health concern that's putting our officers at risk. In an age of serious infections like HIV and hepatitis, criminals spitting or bleeding on police can be a real problem. As Nancy Hicks reports, these biological weapons are creating nightmares for police.
It started as a pretty routine call to a Calgary bar for city police. A few patrons had a little too much alcohol and got into a brawl. Police made several arrests, but in the process, the night took a turn for the worse for Constable Kevin Starblanket.
While I was trying to recuff him, he spit blood into my face. Spit inside the face, in my eyes, and in my mouth as well.
Starblanket ended up at emergency, treated for all the what-ifs.
In the back of your mind is stress. What have I been exposed to as a result of being spit on? You can't imagine how stressful that is, whether you've been affected or not. Now it's affected your relationship with your significant other and your family and your friends.
Constable Corey Gash knows that type of anxiety all too well. Just a month ago, he went through the same life-changing ordeal while arresting a man in a domestic disturbance.
While we were walking back to the vehicle with him, he turned around and had spat in our direction. And basically it caught me in my eyes and my mouth.
Thinking spit is a low risk to spread disease, Gash wasn't too concerned until he talked to the man's girlfriend.
She said that he had been doing crack cocaine and he has a history of drug use, and he was a needle user as well. and she believed that Pete was HIV as well as Hep C positive.
Yash went through all the tests. His attacker turned up clean, but somehow his test showed up positive.
My initial screening test came back positive for HIV. It's a completely life-altering experience. When you think about your future, you think about your family, you think about people who you're in a relationship with.
It turns out a cold had skewed test results. Yash was not infected with HIV.
I felt 20 pounds lighter. It was unbelievable.
Sergeant Ray McKenzie has a scar to remind him of his experience with biological contamination. He was investigating a hit and run in 2001 when he was bitten by a bad guy.
After he was put into the police car, he said, welcome to the world of AIDS. At that point, a huge increase in stress. I just couldn't believe it. It was extremely tough the next day going home to my wife and saying, you know, I've been bit by somebody who's HIV positive. Here's the things that we have to do now.
It's not the kind of thing most officers think about. They face violent people and weapons, but this is different. It's stress and uncertainty. 6 months went by before Mackenzie got the news he was okay. He didn't contract HIV. The number of biohazard exposures in the Calgary Police Service is on the rise. Last year, there were 18. Already this year, in just 9 months, there have been 19.
It's not tolerated. You got to understand what we think is very, very serious when we transfer communicable disease to police officers. We charge people with offenses specifically when we do that, and they will be put in court.
Constable Starblanket's trip to emergency ended with good news. He wasn't infected, but it's a scare that will be on his mind for a long time.
Ultimately, we are out there doing a dangerous job, and we're trying to make it home every shift, at the end of every shift, safe and sound. You know, continue on with our lives, because we have a life as well. This is just a job.
Nancy Hicks, Global News, Calgary.
And tomorrow on Global News, Nancy shows us the shocking contamination